Hello everybody, welcome to the review from Cinematic Escape on YouTube. It is 8:56 p.m. I just came home not too long ago from watching Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Before I get into the details of this review, I want everyone to know if you hear any background noise going on right now, those are my fans keeping my room cool. It's very, very warm in here, and the South Carolina weather has been more or less going through this flip-flop phase where it's wet and cold one week, and then the next week is very warm, and it gets really uncomfortable when I don't have my fans going on, and so I needed to be cool, and I need myself to be cool as well. So yeah, I hope you all can hear me well, and if you hear the noise, please do your best to tune it out, I reckon. Uh, as usual, the review will be spoiler-free. Black Panther Wakanda Forever is another release within the Marvel Cinematic Universe spectrum, and given how Phase 4 has more or less experienced this significant lopsided perspective and quality, with the exception of, say, Spider-Man No Way Home, which seems to be something that everybody adores, including myself. Doctor Strange's Multiverse of Madness was pretty good. It wasn't anything that I felt insulted by. Thor: Love and Thunder was entertaining, decent, good. Nothing that made you feel as if that you had to watch it again, or was it just highly anticipated. Black Panther Wakanda Forever was experiencing already a significant amount of pressure given the unexpected tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman and how that actually occurred during the production of the film itself. What they did was, in order to make the storyline work, they coincided the real-life passing and combined it with the passing of T'Challa within the story, and how this film is more or less a tale of Wakanda attempted to metaphorically and physically rebuild itself after the passing of their king. It has Tisha Wright, who's playing Shuri. I am not even going to attempt to pronounce the name of the actor who plays Namor, or Namor, whichever you prefer to call him. I just know that he plays Namor and Namor, whatever. I am not even going to attempt to pronounce his name because I know I will most likely butcher it. Angela Bassett returns, as Queen Ramada. You have Winston Duke returning as M'Baku. You have Lupita. I am not even going to attempt to pronounce her last name either because I know I will butcher that as well. And so you have a lot of interesting dynamics that is occurring within this film that hits all forms of significant emotional scales that allows you to not only find yourself immersed within the story and the characters, but the emotionality that is coming with no Chadwick Boseman. The story, even though it is dedicated to him and you do feel his presence to a degree when you watch the film, is not one of those type of films where you feel as if that you know he's there. You feel his presence, but you also understand the lack of his presence and his natural charisma that he carried with every single role that he was a part of. You just know it has a very heavy, the film and the story has a very heavy sense of emotion within it. And I realized that going in when I sat down in the chair to watch it. I was at first very concerned because, given how I experienced a personal tragedy myself with my father passing away a year ago, and his very first Marvel superhero that he loved was Namor the Submariner. And that was the first Marvel comic characters that he introduced me to when I was a kid. He loved the Submariner. I'm talking about he had in the comics, even going as far as when we watched the animated series of the old animated series that I can remember watching on VHS. And all I could think about at that moment was when I saw Namor on the screen, how much my dad would have just really loved it. He would have loved seeing his favorite Marvel comic character on the big screen. This is something that I do believe would have been just a significant dream come true for him, and it was really hurting me watching those scenes, knowing that he was missing out on it. And it just felt very, I don't want to say it was necessarily cathartic, it just felt like I was just being robbed to an extent, because I would have loved to have seen his reaction the moment that Namor appears on the screen. What I did appreciate about the film that I have mentioned in past reviews regarding the Marvel Cinematic Universe was the fact that at times Marvel relied on too much on comedy, and the comedy itself more or less tended to remove the tension from the seriousness that the scenes was attempted to convey with the audience. This Black Panther Wakanda Forever is most likely, in my opinion, the least comedic of the Marvel Cinematic Universe alleys. I do believe that has a lot to do with Chadwick Boseman's passing, also as well, given that it is about Shuri, uh, M'Baku, Queen Ramada, Okoye. It's all about them attempting to rebuild what Wakanda represented, and also dealing with this new threat that is emerging in Namor. I have to say, when I first heard that they changed Namor's origin to an extent, I was a bit hesitant because I was prepared to hate it. If I must be honest with you, given how they removed any form of the Atlantis connection within the character, I was thinking, okay, this is not something that I am going to be wholeheartedly on board with. It's a very important part of the character and the story. Also, playing Marvel Ultimate Alliance, one of my favorite stages in that game is going to Atlantis and actually interacting with Namor and watching just everything unfold as far as the character is concerned. I've always loved the story of the Submariner, and I love any type of character or story where the kingdom itself is underwater. I mean, deep beneath the surface. I mean, to the very core. That is such a beautiful, majestic visual when you think about something that is predominantly ancient, and you just simply have no idea what is lurking beneath the seas, and that is such a beautiful concept to me. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is a very interesting film. I thought it really hit all the emotional notes that was coming in, that the audiences most likely was going to be expected. I can remember seeing a lot of members of the audience coming out crying, and because they really felt moved, and it was a moving piece of film, and I was just completely and utterly impressed with how they were able to not only complete the film as is, but still carry it in a way that, despite the passing of Chadwick Boseman, they crafted something that I don't believe would have been nearly as possible if the actors and the actresses and the production and the writers and the director Ryan Coogler wasn't involved heavily within the creative process of making sure that this film was going to honor Chadwick Boseman while also push the storyline in a way that allows you to remember him how he was, and also feel his spirit within the confines of the story. Visually, it's very beautiful. Very beautiful. I loved seeing the underwater kingdom of Namor's tribe, if you will. Because again, when I learned that Atlantis was not going to be a part of the film, I was prepared to say, you know what, this is going to be a significant two-point deduction for me automatically. When I saw the kingdom of Namor, I was blown away. I loved it. All I could think about from my point of view was it was going to be amazing. Depending on how the storyline shapes up, how it's going to be amazing to see the other Marvel characters interact with those specific characters. I simply cannot wait, and hopefully they expand it more, because the potential there is limitless when it comes to exploring the uncharted territory of what Namor is attempting to do. Namor's characterization in this film is very different. He's not your standard antagonist. He's not necessarily the villain. You, in a way, understand where he's coming from, and what I do appreciate in totality, Wakanda Forever is really about personal conflict, and how that personal conflict has a tendency to shape who we are, or who we might eventually become at some point. And they really nails that point home down to the T, and how we respond to tragedy ultimately does shape who we become. And the message there really resonated within me, because I know still to this very day I have a lot of anger given what happened to my father. And it's only until recently that I finally began to let some of it go, to send it back to its rightful owner. So when it comes to Namor's message and his purpose, you do understand him. You understand Shuri's purpose. You understand Wakanda as a whole, exactly what they want to do and why they want to remain hidden. And so that's what makes that's what makes Namor's point of view so interesting, as well as Shuri's. And the acting from everybody is extremely powerful and emotional and charismatic. Letitia Wright, I mean, when you think about how she had to step into these giant shoes the fact that she is the focal point of the story now, the fact that she carried it the way she did, and it didn't seem cringeworthy, didn't seem elementary, it just seemed natural still. She gave a powerful performance. Angela Bassett is just equally emotional and powerful. Winston Duke is a national treasure himself. Again, the actor who plays Namor, I am not going to pronounce his name. He did an amazing job. Namor, for me personally, was the highlight. And he was the only purpose for me to watch this film, because I wanted to watch it for my dad. And his action sequences is top notch, pure, perfect, elite. I cannot stress enough how much I loved watching him interact on an epic scale like that on the big screen. It is very important to watch this with an audience, and you can feel just everything that is going on, especially when he's in motion, when he's flying, he's combating all these different type of warriors and soldiers. It really just gives you the sense of this is someone who really has to lose and he means business. Also, the tribe that follows him, the kingdom that he rules, what I did appreciate as well is how it more or less plays as if it's a horror movie to a degree. They're very menacing and militaristic, and it really just has you on the edge of your seat. And that to me is what's going to ultimately not only could make this Marvel Cinematic Universe expand, but the fact that now you have another world entered into the picture that is going to play a monumental role is what's absolutely needed. I do believe this is the type of film that they should have made from the very beginning, relying less on humor and more on the character development and the emotionality, as well as the important and elite and precise action sequences, and the music associated with it as well is bar none excellent and of immense quality. The film is very dark and it's serious and it's emotional, and I was actually quite surprised that I managed to keep mine intact, because I felt it coming. There was a lot of moments within the film as I found myself at times looking next to me and thinking that I was going to see my dad sitting there and just watching his reaction. And I have to tell you, it's very heavy. It's a very heavy film, and you just have to know that going in. There is a surprise cameo in the film. I'm not going to spoil it, and there is a heartwarming tribute at the beginning and even at the end of the film. I do believe that this story is going to have some very strong legs the more that people watch it. It's not as preachy or as political as a lot of people are afraid of. It very much has the important escapism that is absolutely needed in times like this. So, having said that, I am going to give Black Panther Wakanda Forever a 10 out of 10, 2 thumbs up. I do recommend it. It's very brutal, dark, emotional, serious, and the humor that is there is balanced symmetrically in a way that it doesn't detract from the overall story itself. So I do recommend Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Do watch it. Bring your friends, bring your family. And I don't necessarily believe there's anything too traumatic for children. I mean, again, there's some pretty unexpected forms of serious violence involved, but I don't believe it's anything that will make parents feel as if that their children should be watching it, and that's just from my perspective. Again, Black Panther Wakanda Forever, a 2 thumbs up, 10 out of 10. I do recommend it. The next review that I'm going to be contributing to my YouTube channel is going to be The Menu, that comes out next week. Feel free to leave a comment on what you thought about the film, and visit my Facebook, as well as if you're interested in joining my Discord and joining the conversation there, please feel free to click on the link. Be sure to subscribe if you do enjoy this, if you continue to enjoy the content on my channel. I hope you guys continue to do well, and you'll be hearing from me again. Take care, and peace out.